7 silver swans swim silently seaward. 7 silver swans. Oh! Hi. You know, I secretly suspect they selected me, Cindy Brady, to introduce this specific episode of Living Figuratively because I used to have this adorable lisp. See, for this show, I'm going to have to say something about stuff like Cynthia Brewster's Best in Show piece called Irie Peacefire. And I also am going to talk about Judy Jacquez's piece, The Goddess Sphynx. I don't think anybody can say that. And I suspect a whole lot more artists with a lot of S's in their names. See, I've struggled with this list for years and years now. When I was a kid, there was this mean bully named Buddy Hinton who always used to make fun of me whenever I talk. He'd say I was talking baby talk. But you know, my brother Peter, he went to bat for me big time, and he got in a fight to defend me. He got a really bad shiner at the time, but he came back, and he came back for a second fight, and that time, Peter knocked out that nasty Buddy Hinton, and knocked him out in the mouth, and knocked out a tooth. So then Buddy Hinton started lisping. You know, that's what happens. But that's all. I'm all grown up now, and that's all in the past. I am, thanks to years of speech therapy, I have no more lisp, and also no more pigtails, and no more blonde hair. So, join me tonight. Thank you for joining me for Living Figuratively. Hopefully the hair survived having the pigtails ripped out. Thank you for joining me for Living Figuratively tonight. This is the 64th episode. Living Figuratively is the show that asks the question, why not fill your home with the fascinating faces and figures of people that you don't even know? Why not fill your home with figurative art? Each week I take you to a corner of my home and show you pieces from my collection or my work, or we go out on the road. Tonight we have gone out on the road to the Lakeland May Show. This is the 11th annual Lakeland May Show. So, what is the history of the May Show, you might ask? If you're from Cleveland, you may know that we used to have, the Cleveland Museum of Art used to have a May Show every year. They held it from 1919 all the way through 1993, and it was the premier competitive art show for this whole area. And it was a career maker and breaker, and if you got in and, you know, the collectors went there to buy because they wanted May Show artists, so it was a really important thing. They stopped doing it in 1993 for a plethora of reasons, which we cannot get into here, but, you know, it's worth discussing. So, but it left a major hole in Cleveland art. Fast forward maybe, I don't know, 15 years, Mary Urbas, who is the gallery director at the Lakeland Community College, decided to start her own May Show, the May Show at Lakeland. And so tonight we are at the 11th annual one. Every year she's put this on, and each year it's absolutely amazing. They've had a host of amazing jurors, whether they're highly esteemed artists as jurors, or sometimes it's curators. Sometimes it's museum directors. We had Lou Zona as who's the museum director of the Butler Butler Institute of American Art as the juror one year. So it's a highly prestigious show. And this year the jurors are Jae and Wadsworth Jarrell, who are the pioneering founders of the AfriCOBRA Art Movement from about 15 years ago in Chicago. AfriCOBRA stands for the African Commune of Bad Relevant Artists. And they basically wanted to put together, this is sort of born during the Civil Rights Movement in the 60s, they wanted to put together a direction and a celebration of a Black aesthetic in art. And so it's, you know, it's amazing that we have them living right here in Cleveland, and they were able to jury the show this year. They were going to jury it last year, I believe, but the whole show was canceled. Don't even want to say it again, but due to COVID. But this year it's live, it's up, it's awesome. So let's start looking around. one of my favorite artists that I always love to see one of his works on the show, Michael Hyde. This one is called I Don't Belong Here. And he's a ceramicist who, you know, there's these gorgeous little branches and the bird and the texture. It really has this sort of magical, amazing quality to it. Absolutely love it. And this one right here won a Jurors Award. This one is Joanna Mitchell's Kiki, and you probably recognize Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She has put together this, you know, sort of iconic mythological, maybe natural, you know, venue for her, and it's a really powerful charcoal drawing. This one right here, Jennifer Gleason, Fledgling. It's a photo manipulation, and you know, it's also got this sort of magical quality to it. So that means it's a photograph, and then more is done to it. That is what a photo manipulation is. Mary Urbas has done a wonderful thing for me. She has clustered she didn't do it for me. She has clustered all the figurative art into sort of this cocoon inside in the middle of the gallery. So we're going to basically only look in that part. It's like twice as much show that continues, so you will have to come in person and see the rest of the show in addition to the figurative art here. Here's a little beauty by Joe Stabeck. The die was cast, and I believe he's the one that won Best in Show at the Valley Arts Center a couple years ago, and his stuff is just always very rich with these tiny details, and it's tiny. And now we come to the Best in Show. Best in Show by Cynthia Brewster. This one, it's called Irie Peace Fire, and it is a portrait of the man and the energy of Carlos Jones, who is a Cleveland reggae legend. And I've never been to one of his concerts, but Cynthia has been to many of them, and she's just inspired by, you know, the spirit of a reggae concert, and she won Best in Show for it, which is amazing. Betty Skupka, which I always love seeing. She's the one who is, I think she's probably 90 by now, and she does these teeny weeny, amazing pointillist pieces. It's all teeny tiny dots. And this one is a beautiful, beautiful woman. A lot of times it's animals and sort of things like that. So I'm very thrilled to see that. Diane Thayer Miller, this one is called James, and it is textiles and fiber, and I couldn't even tell you, looks like it's needlework. It doesn't look even like a weaving to me. It looks like needlework, but I could not tell you, but it has an amazing presence. Framed in this antiqued frame, which looks like it could be a window frame maybe that was taken out of an old house. I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna show you, I don't wanna not show you the pieces that we started out looking at while I was doing my Cindy Brady. This little beauty of a gem here, it's called Beaded Buddha Boy, and is by Gail Tabor. It's not for sale, sadly, because this is just a stunner. I love how she's got this pattern of the beads on it, and just the kitschy adorableness of this. It's just like adorable and magical. I just love it. And it sits so beautifully here between these two mosaics, wall-sized glass mosaics by Jacquez P. Jackson. Can you imagine these on your wall? Anywhere you put them, they make an absolute beautiful statement. It's shaped wall art that really, really sings. So that's all gorgeous. I'm going to take you around just a bit to start off with this little beauty right here by Maya Matthews, and it's untitled, which I know that's my pet peeve. I like a title, but it has a weirdness to it, a very cool weirdness to it, and I'm gonna say it sings, and it looks like the person is actually maybe singing or screaming. A title would sort of push it in one direction or another, so maybe that's what she wanted to do, is not push it in one direction or another. There's all kinds of cool three-dimensional things in this show. Here's a little beauty called Carney Dreams. It's just a fun way to do it. You know, like a fun little piece of art. And over here we've got Delinda Mariani's. These ones you got to zoom in. It's called Working Girls. It's 3 enamels, so incredibly reasonably priced. I would be amazed if these did not get snapped up in a jiffy. It's little iconic pinup art, and with all kinds of little words about working girls. Those are really, really fun pieces. This one right here, Not Giving In by Denise Zingati. Okay, this is a collage that, you know, to beat all collages. It's like the true spirit of collage art. And it's really like, okay, one of the really cool things that she's done here, she's got this real photographic face with then the back, the shape around the back made out of the wallpaper. And, you know, it's got attitude and power. It's got a young girl that's defiant. It's got an older woman who is defiant. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, that's just kind of an interesting, you know, like perhaps this lean has something to do with that. It's all about not giving in. And there's actually even words. Utopia. That's a neat concept. I didn't even notice that first. It's one of those works that has a lot of second readings in it, so if it's in your home, you get to keep on experiencing it over and over and over again. Right here, we've got Karen Meisel's 3 iconic stand-ups, and one of the things I love about these ones, they have this sort of pre-Renaissance Giotto feel to them, and they're also like paper dolls. So it's got that double, you know, kind of modern, like mid-century modern paper dolls, you know, which were big in the 1960s and the 1970s. I know I had tons and tons of paper dolls, and you always wanted them to be able to stand, but they were never quite stiff enough. And if you got high-quality paper dolls that came in a box, you would get the thick cardboard stand for the bottom, and then they would stand up. But if you just got the kind in the book where you just punched out the pages, you had to put the horizontal thing in it, and half of those didn't stand up. Ladies my age know what I'm talking about. Maybe nobody else does them. Next one up here, Joyce Morrow Jones, Ordinary Madonna, Shakura Cherry Blossom. So this one also has a beautiful 3-dimensional, iconic, just, you know, funness to it. And just, you know, the texture, like it's handmade paper on this part out here. And then she's done the roping, the braided roping that's braided very beautifully and evenly. I'm never able to braid things evenly, so, you know, it's a stunning piece. Michael Costello's Matthew 6.31 and the Tin Man. So he's got a little Bible quote, and then there's this second reading with the Tin Man. And there's a lot of symbolism in this. You know, we've got this ancient family with a rickshaw, and there's Asian writing that I don't read, so I don't even know what language that is. But it's a really, really beautiful charcoal drawing. Now we have Jill Yannick Eisert, who you've seen her work in many of the juried shows that I've covered here on Living Figuratively. She always does these very lovely little expressive but somewhat realistic, somewhat illustrative pencil drawings cut out of mobs and mobs of people. Lots of people clustered together doing a thing, whether it's talking on the phone, whether it's experiencing something. These people are all experiencing something that's the wonder of the universe, perhaps, the aurora borealis, the wonder of whatever it is. But they've all got that, you know, like looking upwards. There's a lot of psychological drama here and little psychological relationships between people. So something like this in your home, you can always find little things to discuss about these people, who these people are and what they're thinking and doing. Mandem. Mandem is an artistic trio of 3 people who create together. And their child is the subject of many of these, of their photographs and photo manipulations and digital manipulations. This one is called Apollo, Patron of Epidemiology. And they speak to my mythological heart. Mandem won last year, the Best in Show last year. And it's from the, I want to say it was like patron saints, the trials and tribulations of the saints or something like that. Now I might have it wrong. But this is just a beautiful set of photographs. And oh my God, that's the price for both of them. You guys, you have to get down here and you have to buy something. I cannot believe how reasonably priced things are here. Too reasonable, I think. Angela Novak's Planting the Seeds of Tomorrow. Gorgeous little photograph of a sweet child in a flower pot. Right here, we've got, maybe I should stand over here on this side. Devon Bransley, who you remember Devon Bransley when I covered his show at the MOCA in Lakewood back before Christmas. And this one is called My Heart Belongs to You. And I think this is the most painting-y painting that I've ever seen of his. It's like a true painting. He said he called himself a drawer, but he's a pretty darn good painter too. And it's very clear that he's a good drawer from how detailed and accurate and beautiful his painting is. He's got, like the fingers and the knuckles and the way that they kind of sit, like this one, it goes back in space, even though it's a very flat silhouetted shape, but with the shading and the accuracy and the anatomy on the hand, it goes back in space too. So this one is a beauty. My heart belongs to you. Keep coming around. We've got Galetronics Automated Man, which she does these amazing sculptures that all have little quizzical things. Sometimes she incorporates real life objects and it's like an assemblage, but a lot of times there is just a definite human element to it. And this one, she's got the wheels from a chair or a stool, and you come around to the side and you see that the head is being held by hands, which is a nice detail. She has another piece in the show. I'm gonna pull you guys over here to this one. It's called Vincent, which, do I even have to tell you that it's Vincent van Gogh. But it's just got a cool deliciousness to it. We're gonna come down. This seems to be the portrait room. We've got Wally Kaplan's Tomorrow's Another Day, which is a lovely portrait. Nancy Lick's Marcellus. And this one has a cool illustrative quality to it that I absolutely love. A lot of chiseled features and the rustic frame, I think, really works on it. In fact, I think it's on some kind of a rustic board. This one, Nicole May Luga, Holding the Bag. This, I love the emptiness of it and the self-restraint where, you don't put the scene in, you don't put anything in. You just have this simple, iconic, and tiny, detailed, beautifully painted little figure that says so much. It's a beautiful piece. And the shadow, the shadow, it just firmly plants it. I think this one is a stunner. Next one over, Sarah Curry's Hung Up on Something. I'm not sure if this one was, I feel like I've seen the same concept where she's done the clothespins with the hair, but maybe not this exact piece. A cool detail to notice is that she's got a pattern, like those, the patterns that when we were in home ec, we used to sew dresses and stuff like that. She's got that in the background. And then the clothesline. It's a really beautiful collage drawing. And so reasonably priced, guys. Seriously. This one, beauty right here, Cheryl Brickman's Mother Earth, mixed media. Now this one is not for sale. But just the way that she's built this beautiful outfit on a mannequin and then done this gorgeous tattoo drawing. You know, it's a drawing on the mannequin in just this beautiful tattoo pointillism way. It's really, really a stunner. Trisha Commons, Cassandra Resting. This one's all about the different fabrics and textures against each other. You know, the pillow, the fur, the jeans, the stripes, the shoes. It's really sort of a nice essay in different fabrics. And it's got that sort of overall dark, the sort of gray that sort of pulls the whole thing together. It holds it together as a single composition. Wally Kaplan's Brian's Message, and his message right there is vote. So I'm assuming that came from a time when that was definitely a thing we had to do. Karen Jewel Katz, this one is just plain old fun, Mr. Headphones. He's an old guy who maybe has fallen asleep with headphones that kind of flopped off his head. So and over here we've got Sarah Curry again, and you remember her from the Hedge Gallery. These are her beautiful velvet flocking pieces of girls with selfies. And one of the things that I did not know then, but I do know now, is that all of these selfie pictures were actually taken by the girls as selfies during lockdown, when everybody was home having school on Zoom and away from everything. And she had the girls in her class take these selfies of themselves and send them to her. And she created these paintings from them, and then did the flocking, which is a whole process in and of itself. She said that it was definitely a learning curve doing these, because she ruined some paintings because of the way that the flocking works. I'm going to skip over this one. We're going to come right over here. Susan Hood's COVID in Irie's. And this one, I love the stained glass quality of it. It's I don't know if it's a self-portrait, but it seems like it could be, maybe. But the stained glass quality and the sunshine coming through this, maybe greenhouse, butterfly conservatory kind of a thing. It's really, really a stunning piece. We're going to finish up with my piece in the show, which is the Goddess Sphynx, which is really tough to say 3 times. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it because I don't already have an episode devoted to it, so I can say, watch that episode. The Goddess Sphynx is from my Goddess Project, where I re-examine the mythology of all religions through a feminist contemporary lens. The story behind the Sphinx was, many of you are probably familiar with, it's somebody who was from ancient Egypt, half man in the front, lion in the back. And the great Sphinx of Giza is the one that's guarding the pyramids. And so I have pictured that Sphinx right there in my painting. So that Sphinx was a wise, guardian, that, a good solid person. Over the next several thousand years, with all the conquests and cultural appropriation that went on, the Greeks ended up with their own version of the Sphinx. But by then, the Greeks' version of the Sphinx had become this conniving, wily trickster and sort of a little bit evil kind of person. And they had also made her into a woman, coincidentally. So, when it was a man, he was wise and good. When she was a woman, she wasn't. She was evil and conniving and tricky. So that is the myth that I wanted to bust with my painting. I had to choose just the right model, and I had the person exactly in mind. My friend Shannon, who posed for my Chicks with Balls project, had lived the first more than half of her life as a man. And when she finally was able to go through gender transition, she became a woman, and has never looked back and is living the life she really should be living and deserves. And so I thought, what better model than somebody that used to be a man and was a good person, and now is a woman and is still a good person. So I had Shannon pose for me with this Egyptian headdress and stuff. I've got the Ankh jewelry, which is, you know, highly symbolic of the Egyptian religion. She's writing in the, you know, a book that means wisdom and stuff like that. And I had super fun doing this quill pen feather thing. I love doing feathers. I could do feathers forever. I'll probably get sick of them. But so basically, that is the story behind the goddess Sphynx, and you know, showing that you don't have to be a man to be the good and wise one, and the woman can also be the good and wise one. So that's it for the Lakeland May Show tonight. Please come back next week to join me for the Lakeland May Show Extended View, which the way that the jurying went with this, it was online jurying. So everybody that was accepted into the second round of judging, what is in either this show or the show in the extended view. When the physical pieces came here to this gallery, the jurors came physically also to pick through those. They picked the first round went into this gallery, and then the second round went to the Stella's Gallery extended view. So this gives a nice snapshot of the jurying process and the tough decisions that they had to make. I know one of the things that many jurors always say is that the toughest, you know, they could very well put together a whole nother good show out of the pieces that they rejected from the first show. So the extended view show is evidence of that other good show, and I can't wait to see it. So next week, same bat time, same bat channel, June 17th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all come back now, you hear?